so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life, well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, this episode of the Positive Head Podcast is being brought to you thanks to the support of Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online, and you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back to another episode. Here we go again. So happy to be here with you all. As always, in all ways, we are going to explore the cosmos, the inner space, outer space, or maybe just a book. I'm going to read chapter 24 from Oneness today. It's been a while since I picked up Oneness and randomly chose a chapter, or let the universe randomly choose a chapter, which today was when I used a random number generator, chapter 24. So it's a book that I love. You can pick it up, read it from anywhere. It is, as I like to put it, the guidebook for ascension. And we're certainly dealing with those sorts of energies now, so it seems very appropriate. Actually, I posted in the Positive Heads Facebook group. And if you're not in there, get in there, by the way. But I posted the other day a write-up from Sandra Walter, Ascension Guide, who was on the show a while back, and just epic. I got to meet her and spend some time in person in Austin, Texas, at the Conscious Media Festival a few weeks ago. And she posted an update of all the energetic updates that she foresees coming, as an Ascension Guide and gatekeeper and a multidimensional worker, if you will. And it was great because she put that, the 15th, March 15th, which is today, would be, a major solar activation. And, she has dates on that thing I posted, just kind of saying, hey, here's some of the major energies coming in for March. And funny enough, then my other friend, Sydney, posted something showing that they expected crazy solar flares today that could actually take out satellites and all this stuff. So if my memory serves me correctly, you can't really predict solar flares that accurately. And so I thought that was really cool to see that Sandra had actually said, back at the beginning of March 15th through 17th, and then all of a sudden MSN.com's reporting about major solar flares on the 15th. So pretty cool. You guys can read that if you go into the Positive Heads Facebook group and kind of see what else she's predicting. But what this book does, it really acts as I read it originally 10 years ago, and I feel like I refer to it as the guidebook for ascension because it's supposedly channeled material that is very high vibrational, in my opinion. It's definitely proven to be true of some of the things that I've experienced, kind of predicting, okay, as you level up, as you sort of ascend to the next greatest and greatest version of yourself, here's some of the side effects and experiences you can expect to have. Now, we all have our own unique paths, of course, and our own unique set of experiences, but there's also some things that are kind of, part of the ride, if you will. We may all be on a roller coaster and experience it differently, but there are some things you can pretty much count on, like the big drop and the loop-de-loop or whatever else might be on the roller coaster. So yeah, I love the book for that reason. And today, chapter 24 is the one that I'm going to read, and hopefully it gives some insight on this amazing journey that you are experiencing, that we are experiencing alone, separately, and together all at once. And before I do, I would like to take a moment and read a review on iTunes. You guys know I love my iTunes reviews. Not only do they help us to reach new people, they certainly fuel my fire to continue this labor of love that is this broadcast. And this one came in by Lizzo420, my favorite podcast. I've been listening to this podcast for a while now. I just want to thank Brandon and everyone behind this podcast. I'm so grateful I found this. It's the perfect boost of high vibration that I crave daily. Sometimes when I feel like everyone around me is asleep, I know I can tune into any one of the episodes and feel connected. This podcast motivates me to continue my own labor of love for the world. I send episodes to people all the time in hopes that they will tune in. Thanks again for all that you do. I am forever grateful, Lizzie. And heart and some twinkling stars and crystal ball emoji. Thank you, Lizzie, for taking the time to review. It means the world, completing this circle of love that I'm putting out to the world and shining it back my way. And I really appreciate you sharing with people. That certainly, there's all kinds of ways that people can have their own awakening, if you will, and move into the next greatest and greatest version of themselves. And this podcast has been one for me personally, and for those that are tuning in, it appears, from the feedback that I receive, and I'm so humbled and grateful for that. And obviously, the idea of reaching more people and reaching more people through you guys, the listeners, is just amazing, and you're helping the world in that way, and it sort of makes it feel like such a team effort, and I love that. I definitely love being on this team with you guys. You are also amazing, so yeah, thank you. All right, let's jump in, shall we? Let's jump into chapter 24 of Oneness by Rasha, received and transcribed by Rasha, and let's see what it has to say. And it's typically titled at the top to give you an idea of what to expect during the chapter. And this one says, the significance of the experience of duality, the purpose of the journey into the depths of humanness, and the gift of experiences of adversity as a foundation for the experience of oneness. Here we go. The inclination to place the concept of God in an exalted position within the framework of a personal philosophy is at the root of all that holds one back in one's experience of God. For God is not within you to be worshipped or feared or even to be understood, but rather to be experienced and known. The very act of the exaltation of the divine creates a delineation between that divine presence and oneself. A state of separation that constitutes a barrier to the very connection that one most fervently wishes to realize. The God within all life does not seek to be placed on a pedestal, but hopes to be discovered as the source of one's own essence. The God to whom you pray and from whom you beg mercy or miracles is no more capable of manifesting the answer to your prayers than you are. The only difference between you and God is that God knows it and you don't. Our purpose in coming here to tell you the truth of the nature of creation is not to provide you with the basis for yet another religion to which you can serve up your power. It is surely not to equip the charismatic amongst you with the tools to command the devotion and resources of your fellow beings. And it is surely not our purpose to create a new set of parameters for humankind to wield as evidence of a God who would remain in an exalted position to each of you. For the God that speaks to you now, in this moment, is oneness, the oneness that dwells within each of you. Man has created God in an image that we are not here to live up to. For to embody the exalted concept of the divine to the exclusion of all else would limit the scope of all that oneness is. For oneness is you. All of you. The qualities that you strive most diligently to transcend are no less characteristic of what oneness is than your highest thought or action. For what oneness is, simply is. There is no judgment. There is no higher or lower. All is oneness. The delineation and compartmentalization of the concept of God is the training you have come here to transcend. You have not come here to weigh the relative merits of one body of self-righteous dogma over another. You have come into form in these times to liberate yourself from the human tendency to do so. You have come to taste the experience of your own connectedness to all that is, not for the purpose of knowing God, but rather for the purpose of knowing yourself. We speak to you now, not as the God whom you would perceive to be separate from all that you are, but rather as oneness, the oneness that is the very essence of each of you. As you fine-tune your ability to manifest your experience as you would wish it to be, you are taking command of your identity as a creative being. A being who is able to create, to manifest, to materialize, and to dematerialize is a being that is exercising mastery over the limitations imposed by ideas of separation. When one is in conscious alignment with the sum totality of one's connectedness to all that is, there is no limit to what can be experienced or created in physical form. The question for those who have perfected these skills is whether one wishes to expend one's energies manifesting the mundane into form, or whether one feels sufficiently complete with that experience to cease having to do so. Ultimately, as one harmonizes with the higher energies and merges with the aspects of self at those levels, one realizes that one's focus has shifted. The transition happens in a very natural way. And often, one is not even aware that such a transformation has occurred. Rather, one becomes aware of subtle differences in emphasis and with one's perception of one's life direction. One is often compelled to cast off the constraints imposed by a life structure built upon a foundation of striving for material gain, and to redirect one's energies to the manifestation of the experience of harmony for all beings. The opportunity, once one has tasted the heightened sensibilities characteristic of ascending to accelerated levels of reality, is not to emerge from that experience of knowing with a holier-than-thou outlook with regard to one's fellow beings. The opportunity inherent in one's own realization of oneness is to know that such experiences are happening to everyone, quite literally. The factor that determines who is able to integrate the experience as a catalyst for transformation and who is not is the degree to which one's perceptions are invalidated by denial. Those who are sufficiently free within themselves to embrace their transformational moment and cast aside a lifetime of culturally induced beliefs are those whose lives transform in ways that seem miraculous. These are the ones who often become the teachers of the masses, for they can teach the trials of transformation from the standpoint of having lived through the most poignant shifts in consciousness, rather than simply having intellectualized those concepts theoretically. Each of you has chosen to choreograph particular challenges into your personal life drama in order to reach the transformational realizations experientially. And it is important that judgments be suspended as to the path some may have chosen as a means of reaching a transcendent state of being. Many will choose to punctuate their journeys with experiences that might be considered to be radical deviations from a spiritually focused path. Such individuals should not be presumed to be off track, but rather given the latitude to create their own perfect route to the attainment of higher wisdom. For some of you, that journey necessitates experiences of plummeting to the depths of humanness in order to prepare a foundation for comprehending and appreciating the heights to come. And these beings are not to be considered in any way less godlike in their core essence than those amongst you whose journeys have been less dramatic. Each of you has a particular focus that has been pre-selected as the highest path to your chosen destination. And each of you is diligently enacting those choices. The degree to which the repetition of these themes is necessary is the option with which most of you struggle in these times, and the obstacle all of you are destined to surmount, each in your own time. The experience of oneness is not a destination towards which you strive in your journey towards self-mastery, but rather the essence of the journey itself. For oneness is your experience of beingness in this present moment. And oneness is the experience to be encountered at the very next stage of your development. Oneness is every exalted plateau encountered, and every stumbling block that trips you and leaves you disheartened and wallowing in the depths of despair. Oneness is the full gamut of your journey into humanness, for this experience is what you have come into your form to have. Be not so quick to judge yourself or others who stumble beside you on your sacred journey. It is naive to assume that a simple, obstacle-free path is a symptom of spiritual advancement. Oftentimes, a more challenging route has been chosen purposefully as a means of providing the rich depths of understanding that would not be possible through a life script that merely skimmed the surface of the human condition. So, by all means, experience your experience, live your life fully, feel your feelings deeply, and know that the highest expression of your experience of aliveness is in knowing that all of it is your own creation. For in that acceptance of total responsibility for the condition you consider to be your life is the key to the realization that your life is so much more than that. In acknowledging that you are the creator of your existence, you open to the experience of oneness as the creator of all existence. Oneness did not limit creation to a landscape of bland monochromatic vistas. The canvas of life is awash with richness of contrasts. The highs and the lows of the terrain of your world reflect vividly the duality that is the nature of your incarnate experience. The duality that is built-in characteristic of your very existence is that which you fervently deny and that which must be embraced in order to be freed from the endless cycles of creating those patterns. The oneness toward which you strive energetically is comprised of those polarities, and it is not possible for you to ascend into an exalted state of balance without encompassing all ends of the energetic spectrum. All must be embraced at this stage of your journey to prepare you to embody the totality vibrationally. Efforts to suppress inclinations that you would consider to be negative and denying that those emotional reactions are part of your response mechanism only serve to magnetize to your circumstances calculated to trigger those very emotions. The emotion itself is not an obstacle to your spiritual progress. Rather, it is the unbridled expression of such emotions that puts one in a repetitive cycle of adverse experiences. The objective is surely not to deny that one is capable of feeling emotions that one would consider to be negative. Quite the contrary. The objective is in feeling those spontaneous responses fully and deeply while relinquishing the impulse to allow that emotion to govern your response. Once transcendence of these patterns of experience becomes established, the key to maintaining your freedom from such episodes lies not in denying that you have the capability of feeling such emotions, but rather in embracing those tendencies. Your feeling body is a key characteristic of your very humanness, and you cannot transcend the limitations of humanness by limiting your experience of it. Your actions, therefore, become the reflections of choice rather than reaction. And your world begins to reflect those conscious choices and resonate in harmony with your environment and your fellow creatures. The exquisite state of balance toward which you strive is the culmination of the full spectrum of life experience, both positive and negative. As you begin to taste that rarefied state with increasing frequency, it is important to be aware that the capability of manifesting adversity still remains, albeit to a diminishing extent. For vibrationally, the catalyst for such categories of experience would still be present in your energy field. Clarity regarding the nature of the process helps you to avoid the natural tendency to fault oneself when such episodes occur and inadvertently plunge you into a downward spiral of adversity. Be gentle with yourself during this process and allow yourself the grace of experiencing fully your humanness. For to do so is the path to all you would wish to experience in the time soon to come. Become the embodiment of the highest loving intent in every moment, and you become the director of your life drama rather than its reluctant star performer. Allow the fullness of your presence as a light being to express as energy through your form, and you create the parameters for the fullness of that energy to manifest as your life experience. Create from a place of spontaneous centeredness, radiating your unquestioning knowledge of your limitlessness as an expression of oneness in human form, and you will reap the bounty that is the inherent potential of that blessed condition. You have chosen to experience humanness as the most direct vehicle to the culmination of your sacred journey as a being. And the human being aspects of that adventure were expected and anticipated. The opportunity inherent in the voyage into humanness is to integrate the epitome of your understandings of yourself as a limitless being with the self-definition that constitutes your emergence as energy in form. To have arrived at this stage of development is a major threshold, and to have undertaken the challenges of a physical lifetime is, in itself, a testimonial to great courage. For the physical world is fraught with every adversity imaginable, quite literally. And the training possible is to harness that potential from a position of inner strength rather than from a position of might. Those with the strongest abilities often encounter the most extreme obstacles and hardships in order to direct their quest towards the strength from within. For the manipulation of the physical manifestations of your world rarely produces the realization of your hopes and dreams. And those for whom those skills come easy often have greater challenges to overcome than less capable fellow travelers. For cleverness and talent rarely guarantees results in and of themselves, and such gifts can prove to be handicaps without a sense of how those abilities harmonize with more profound understandings of the nature of reality. The attainment of balance can be the foundation for a profound epic for some of you who have sought on a soul level to achieve completion of such themes in this lifetime. For the potential in these times is to be able to ride the crest of the wave vibrationally and to take quantum leaps in consciousness as a result. The potential drawbacks in having undertaken such a journey are the experiential ramifications of jumping on the vibrational roller coaster of these times. I love that they used roller coaster after I did a little bit ago. Nice little synchronicity. One may have a lifetime of scuffs and bruises to show for the ride, and the experience, to be sure, is not entirely pleasant. But then, it wasn't meant to be. It was meant to be full and rich and rewarding in ways that cannot be measured, not until the physical form has been relinquished and a higher perspective is once again possible. Undertaking a physical lifetime is not unlike volunteering to serve in the front lines in conditions of combat. Every nuance of one's ability is put to the test on a moment-to-moment basis. The potential for emerging from the experience as a hero in the highest sense is great, regardless of whether or not one actually survives. For the potential in terms of inner growth and self-mastery is unsurpassed. You who have chosen the experience of a physical incarnation under the conditions of these times in human history did so fully aware of the consequences of such a choice. Many chose to consciously harness the potential in those conditions by casting themselves in scripts that would provide for extremes of experience. For the potential for spiritual growth inherent in such a path far outweighs the inconvenience of the cuts and scrapes and the pain and the inevitable wounds one knew one would bear. It was all part of the plan. You walked into this experience of a lifetime with your eyes wide open, and you did so for the chance that you might emerge from the experience with your eyes wide open. You did so for the chance that you might taste your own divinity in the exalted state of physical presence, despite every conceivable obstacle you could think to place in your own way. Your objective was to transcend the limitations of your humanness and to experience that state through the sense of a physical state of being. Through the senses of a physical state of being. This is who you are. This is the hero who lives at the heart of all you would fault and criticize within yourself. This is the blessed being of light who ventured forth in this lifetime in uncharted territory on the chance that a map might be drawn to the source within. This is the one who often thinks that the journey is some sort of race against time, when the truth is there is no time. And surely there is no race, for the experience is not one to be hurried, but rather to be savored. Your journey into physicality was embarked upon for the purpose of amassing a body of experience to support the conclusions you will quite naturally draw from having lived through them. Thus, the experiences of your life are both the catalyst for your spiritual growth and the supporting evidence for the realizations that underlie it. You cannot hope to reach these understandings without having weathered a storm or two. The purpose of this incarnation is not to have glossed over the table of contents, but to have explored in depth some of the most poignant and excruciating passages. Those moments when you judge yourself most harshly and in which you feel you let yourself down are the moments most deeply yearned for as a soul. For, in the moments you look back upon with the deepest regret, the ones that conjure up within you the most profound humiliation in your own eyes, are the moments for which you chose a human incarnation. These key experiences serve as a reference point for you to underscore the themes you have acted out. And your purpose in drawing these experiences to you was in creating moments that would be truly unforgettable. Your darkest hour was, in actuality, your shining moment. For in the authenticity of your emotional experience was your key to your liberation from the pattern that keeps you rooted in the pain of separation from who you really are. In order to transcend the patterns of agony that lurk beneath the surface of your polished veneer, it is necessary for you to transcend the emotional barrenness that your cultural conditioning has supported. You have been prodded energetically into facing the truth of what lies buried there. You have been goaded by circumstances into feeling the rawness of your unresolved anger and grief, your envy and your selfishness, and your all-consuming fears. For these are the attributes that are co-creating with you a reality that persists in undermining your dreams. As you ascend into the higher realms of consciousness, you will need to have mastered these attributes. You will need to have come to grips with all that now has you in its grasp. And to do so, you will need to recognize the truth of what motivates your patterns of response and the categories of experience that dominate your life. The key to the self-mastery that is so fervently sought by you, who are so keenly aware of your process of evolution, is not to love yourself despite your perceived shortcomings, but rather to love yourself because of them. The self-love that is the end result of this process is not a conditional reward that is meted out for high marks and polished performance. It is there without regard for issues of worthiness or unworthiness, for there is no place for judgment at all. You are the perfection of oneness, with the uniqueness of identity, striving towards self-recognition. And in your embracing of all that you are, and in your acceptance of all that you are not, despite the evidence that you may have demonstrated along the way, is the unconditional gift of wholeness that awaits you. The oneness towards which you strive, as you stumble and fall in your daily trials, is a natural consequence of all of it. The profound sense of belonging that has eluded you all your life awaits you. For the sense of separation from your divine connectedness is the illusion. It is this that will be transcended within each of you as you ascend into the higher states of awareness. Not just the privileged few, but all of you. It cannot be otherwise. It may take some of you longer than others to arrive at that blessed state, and some may choose to spend lifetimes working out the details of those arrangements. But the end result is inevitable, for all is oneness, and ultimately all will know themselves to be oneness. Some of you sooner than you can imagine. Wow, what a powerful chapter. That's the end of chapter 24 of Oneness by Rasha. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It definitely has a incredible message of self-love, self-acceptance, self-love, self-acceptance. If you can love all the things that you have up to this point denied or resisted or felt bad about or resented, if you could make that transition through expanding your perspective and understanding that that is a divine part of your journey, you have turned a major corner, right? What you resist persists. What you accept, you move through. Love yourself. Love yourself for right now. Think of the thing you're most ashamed of and love yourself for that, because it is a key moment that is helping to spawn you, birth you, a jumping off point, if you will, a trampoline that is bouncing you into this next greatest and greatest version of yourself. You can look back on that and say, that's no longer who I am. And because of that, I know who I am. And for that, I'm thankful and grateful. And I love myself. And I understand why I went there. And it is okay. It is accepted. It is loved. It is embraced in the net of unconditional love that is oneness, source, your higher self. Well, you magical beings, thank you for sharing this experience with me. I do have a song to leave you with. It's called Shift. It's by Henry Green. I love it. Hope you do too. Until next time, journey well. Love you all. Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear me constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.
I feel movement under my skin when we collide. I feel it all when you let me in, caught in descent. With you I'm falling, a sweet decline. You'll hear me call when the motion ends. Steeper ground, shifting sound for me, dissolving. I'm in deeper now. We're drifting down, falling, resolving with you. Passing figments, visualizing a redesign. See it